Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We are back in Irvine. We're back in Natalie's office. We just spent a wonderful week in the woods. One of the best things about being up in Yellowstone, I guess we can say where we were, one of the wonderful things about being in Yellowstone is that there was no Wi-Fi. So there was no worry about trying to figure out who had their mic on and who forgot to mute themselves when they were crunching on carrots, and who nobody asked us when we were talking to people campsite to campsite. No one said, is my volume okay? Can you hear us? It was pretty nice. And now we're back to all the same mistakes that we've been making for the last 18 weeks. And we are, it's good to travel, good to be home. And we are excited to be spending Shabbat with you all. And both those of you from Congregation B'nai Tzedek and those of you from Temple Beth El of South Orange County, it is good to be celebrating Shabbat.
Amen.
So we're going to celebrate that with light.
It's not so hard.
Yeah, it's not burning the house down.
Nope.
The anticipation makes Shabbat even sweeter.
Let us light these lights for the world tonight. Let our hearts unite in the light.
Ready to bring in the Shabbat bride?
Where is she? Is she on the 405?
We have breathed in an extra soul for Shabbat with the lighting of our candles. We have welcomed in our angels and the Sabbath bride who stir us awake and journey with us through the sacred time of Shabbat. We call out to one another, soul to soul. Are you ready? Are you awake? Can you feel the burdens of the week fade? And are you ready to bring your whole self, body, mind, and spirit to this moment? This is your time to open up to the heart-healing, soul-filling gift of Shabbat. one of the really incredible things about celebrating Shabbat last week in another part of the country is it doesn't get dark until 10 o'clock at night, which threw all of us off. But it was pretty incredible to be in a place that doesn't have light pollution. And our last night of this camping trip, we were camped just outside of Zion National Park, and we saw the most spectacular stars. And my son Alex, our son Alex, saw shooting stars for the first time, and it was such a special experience for us to be able to share. So, God of creation, think about those moments when you've been out in nature that have taken your breath away.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidbaro marim aravim v'chokhma poteach she'arim. God of creation, who makes the evening fall from light into darkness with the setting of the sun. You unfold the heavens with brilliant moon and stars and wrap our souls with peace. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidbaro marim aravim v'chokhma poteach she'arim. Baruch atah Adonai Marim aravim. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, Olam chesed yibaneh, Olam chesed and you must build this world from love. And if we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love. Olam chesed yibaneh, Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai
Shema is the watchword of our faith, and part of Shema is what we call Ve'ahavta, which teaches us what to do with the watchword of our faith. We place it on our forehead, we place it near our heart, on doorposts of our house, and most importantly, Vishinantam levanecha, we teach them repeatedly to our children. And that concept of passing on Torah, passing on the watchword of our faith from Shema, and all of the laws and statutes that surround our faith are all a part of teaching our children. And rather than chant Ve'ahavta tonight, we decided we would share a song that expresses this feeling by a different young.
You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. You teach your children well, their father's hell, they slowly go by.
And while we're doing a new version of Ve'ahavta, we're also doing a newer version of Mi Chamocha by our very good friend Beth Schaefer.
We danced a sweet dance in the sun. We danced a sweet
Each of us is led through this life by the choices we make, the voices of deeper knowing that help us along the way. In our lifetime, we know not when we might light the way for others to help guide them on their journey of life. As we enter the space of our silent Amidah tonight, we invite you to reflect on values and lessons that have been passed down to you, those core pieces of wisdom that have guided you and continue to connect you with those who came before. Again, we invite you to please share that in the chat, that we might impart wisdom to one another.
Take a few moments to pray our silent Amidah and to respond in the chat.
In the sacred spaces of our hearts, we hold in prayer all of those in our community, near and far, and those around the world who are in need of healing this Shabbat. We lift up the names of loved ones who are seeking wholeness of body, mind, and spirit, holding in our hearts the caregivers, those who battle addiction, those who struggle with mental health, and ask God to bring a refuah shlema, a complete healing to our world. God, in your oneness, may we all find strength and healing. May we find renewed wholeness and purpose. And may we find peace.
So if you don't know anything about us at all, then this is new. But if you know even the slightest little bit about our family, you know that we love movies. We love watching, even from our living room, inviting the characters and stories from the screen into our lives. And if you've seen enough movies, you recognize the actors and actresses and sometimes even feel like you know them because of how much time you've spent watching them. There are big names that anyone would recognize, like Meryl Streep or Brad Pitt. And then there are those actors. The ones that we say, oh, it's that woman from the movie that we saw at the time. This week's Torah portion, Parshat Pinchas, is all about characters that are those characters. We know we've seen them before, but we might not be able to place it. It begins with the man for whom the Parsha is named, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aharon HaKohen, Aaron's grandson Pinchas. In this portion, he is assured that the priesthood will stay in his family for all time because of his zeal for God. Next, Eleazar and Moses take a second census of the Israelites, and all the ones 20 years old and older. This time, the census serves the purpose of divvying up the land of Canaan when they cross the Jordan and overtake it. And as a part of this count, the daughters of Zelophehad complain to Moses that since they have no brothers, they won't get any land. They argue that their father's portion of the land should go to them, and Moses agrees. Next, Moses is told by God that he will soon die, and he asks God to appoint someone to take over leadership of the Israelites when he goes. God tells him to appoint Joshua ben Nun, and he does. And the parsha closes with a list of sacrifices that the Israelites are to offer at specific times, daily, weekly on Shabbat, every new moon, holidays. Now, Pinchas, the daughters of Zelophehad, and Joshua are those characters in our Torah. We might recognize their names. We might even know some of their story, but we're not as familiar with them as we are with Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. The power that they hold over our story, however, is one of great importance both to the biblical narrative and to the Jewish people. These characters and these stories represent the importance of legacy. Pinchas is granted the legacy of priesthood for all time. His children and their children forever will be priests in the line of Aaron. The daughters of Zelophehad give us the legacy of feminism. In a world when they had no power, they asked for it and were granted an inheritance. Their courage and initiative are an inspiration to us, especially today as we struggle with the underrepresentation of minority voices. And lastly, Joshua represents the legacy of leadership. After Moses dies, the Israelites need someone to take on the mantle, and Joshua is tasked with that great and often difficult responsibility. Earlier this week, there was a 3-day seminar sponsored by our Reform movement. Its sessions were solely devoted to planning High Holy Days, especially as services will be so different this year for us, as most synagogues have made the difficult choice to stream services online, including both of our congregations. One of the sessions was about the Yizkor service. A presenter helped frame the session by reminding us that regardless of how someone dies, regardless of age, health, wealth, geographical proximity, everyone dies in the middle of a conversation. As the poet Ecclesiastes wrote, the eye never has its fill of seeing. It's up to us to continue the memory of those that came before us, to use their vision and become the next generation of visionaries. We are their legacy. It is impossible for every one of us to be a Moses or a Miriam or an Aaron, but we can all be like the daughters of Zelophehad, like Pinchas or Joshua. We stand on the shoulders of our giant ancestors and we carry on their legacy lador vador, from generation to generation. We do it in times of joy, but we also do it in times of difficulty and pain. Times like right now. But to help, we have one thing that Zelophehad, Pinchas, and Joshua did not have. We have their stories. These specific stories might not be the popular movies yet, but they are a part of our Torah and a part of us. Let's do them proud. As we remember those whose legacy we carry, we remember those from our communities for whom we are saying Kaddish this evening. Kaddish lists are being posted in the chat right now. And from the CBT community, we remember those for whom we are observing Shloshim, those who died recently, Stan Fink and Byron Deutsch.
And from our Temple Beth El community, Leslie Brody, Sylvia Belzer, Pearl Rothman, Herb Chasman, Honey Henderstein, and ma tante, my Aunt Carmen. Ostigi.
We remember them with the ancient words of Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divarachu te v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kariv imru.
Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam lamei amaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kedusha
barichu
le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabbah min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru.
Amen.
May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all who dwell on earth, as we say together, Amen. We are gifts, and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope, and we are healing. We are learning to be strong.
We are words, we are stories, we are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not last. Ledor vador nagid kol lecha. Ledor vador we protect this chain.
From generation to generation, Vador, Vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part.
We are blessed, we are holy, we are children of your way, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say.
Vador, Vador, nagid kol lecha. Vador, Vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Vador, Vador, these lips will praise your name.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikrei kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat
L'chaim.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Have a wonderful week. We hopefully will see you tomorrow for Torah study at CBT. We have Sunday Real Judaism with Lunch and Learn with me at noon. All of this is going to be on the Facebook page for CBT, and we hope you'll join us for everything.
And
Everyone's
everybody's invited.